All right, welcome back to episode 30 of the Rally Report podcast. The big old 30, everybody, and had to bring in the big gun for the big occasion. Really don't need a fancy introduction for today's guest, ranked 14 in the world, probably has one of the best nicknames in the game, the Swiss Rocket, Nici Mueller. Are you okay with me calling you Nici?
Yeah, sure. Nici's fine.
Oh, cool. Awesome. All right. So, yeah, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Can't complain. Just enjoying good old summer training this last couple of weeks. So it's getting there slowly but surely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is the off season, but I saw on your Instagram story, you're not taking off beat with the track session today.
Yeah, I mean, I've had my fair share of the holidays already, but I decided I have to get back into it. So I visited my old friend at track again today. So I'm gonna feel it tomorrow.
Is there? I actually wanted to ask: is there a reason why you didn't play the Birmingham games?
No, I just didn't fancy. For our federation, it's not really important to play. So I'd much rather have had some time off. Besides, during that time, I already had tickets for Tomorrowland, so pre-booked in January. So I was like, it's a once in a lifetime thing. I want to do that. So
yeah. Oh, that's fair. But yeah, why don't we go into a little bit about your unfucking believable season? I mean, PSA is just giving all the spotlight to the young fellas who are moving up the rankings that they're forgetting how you're knocking up at the top 10. And stats-wise, for those of you out there, Nici ended the 2021 season ranked 27 and then proceeds to end this season at a career high of 14. Let that sink in for a second, considering how cemented the top guys are in the men's tour right now. I mean, giving Gina Kennedy a documentary, but no love for you right now. But
Gina most certainly deserves that documentary. The way she came up on that circuit, that was an absolute once in a lifetime achievement.
Yeah. But yeah, what happened? Like what match or what tournament was it that really got everything clicking for you this season?
I don't know, really. I mean, I've been playing well ever since beginning of January, I have to say. I think I lost the first time at Swiss Nationals in December. After like 14 straight years of winning, I think that actually, I was not hurting a bit, but like I just wanted to make sure that I'm still the big dog somewhere in the country. So ever since then I started playing very well in January. I've had a good match against Mazen. I already lost in 5, 12, 10 in the 5th in Houston Open. But ever since from then, I think the biggest Wimbledon must have been the first tournament, the one in Optasia. That was pretty much the breakthrough tournament. I played 4 very good matches there. That gave me a lot of confidence. Yeah.
So there weren't any major on-court or off-court changes that you had made this season in particular?
Obviously during COVID, I had plenty of time to build on my fitness base. I was doing a lot of cycling in the Swiss mountains in the Alps. So I think I've worked harder than usual, and I have a lot of trust in my body. I used to play with insoles for the last 25 years, but I decided to take them out. Ever since I'm not wearing insoles anymore, I have way less problems with my body.
Who'd have thought the insoles would be?
I should have done it 10 years earlier. So now I really can trust my body, and if I can trust my body, I think the squash game is up there for sure. It's always been the body being my issue, but now you can count anybody. It's definitely a big plus.
So I wanted to kind of go back to what you're talking about, you losing that nationals after winning 14 in a row. How do you recover from being down like that? Do you just, chug along and move along?
Yeah, it was going to happen sooner or later. I mean, I was hoping it to happen later, but I think I'm going to make sure it's not going to happen again for the next couple of years. Obviously timing of it wasn't the best. I wasn't the best prepared. My back was in all sorts of troubles, but I lost it. So it just gave me that extra, that I can still do it. I still want to do it. And I think it paid off.
Yeah.
How much I can lose another 5 nationals if I can go up another 5 spots. I don't care.
You trade that in.
I would trade that in all days.
Just talking about this season. Which match would you say was the highlight highlight match of your season for 2022?
Beating Marwan the first time in Up Asia in Wimbledon.
And then you went ahead and beat him again, right? In Canary Wharf.
In Canary Wharf, yeah. I think Canary Wharf I played very good squash throughout the whole, even the whole event I played well. I lost a close one to Diego the day after, like 11-9 in the third. I think that was one of the better matches I played in the season, even though I lost it. But I felt very good out there.
Yeah. And in terms of squash, do you think you're playing the best squash of your life right now?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, as I said, the body's fine, and I'm moving much better than I have. And if I can move well, it's and the confidence is there. So I'm very confident.
If you're moving well, it's dangerous times for the opponents out there.
Exactly. No, I'm very confident. I like to play in front of people as well. I like play with the crowd as well. It gives me an extra.
Yeah. Nick, I got a bunch of questions asking how the crowd affects your performance on the Instagram question.
Yeah, I mean, playing during COVID times, playing in front of nobody, it was miserable to say the least. For me, as like the way I play, I'd much rather play in front of 100,000 people than in front of just 2 people clapping. You know?
Yeah. So you'd say Canary Wharf was the best, like overall performance of the season, but match wise, it'd be that match against Marwan and Aptasia. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so Nick, I had a question for you about, because I wanted to hear your thoughts on being that you've had success in both. Right now that we have the younger generation coming up, and also the older generation. You've seen success in the past as well. But what would you say is the standout difference between how the game has changed throughout your career, if it has changed at all?
It's changed dramatically.
Could you give us some insight on how it has changed?
It's gone way more physical, way more physical. It's just gone quicker. Like the rallies, everything's way faster. I used to play on the high tin. I know we grew up playing on the high tin for a long time. So people nowadays that come up, they already play on the low tin, so they already know the angles you have to hit, and you have to take an extra 1 or 2 steps. And I think they adapt from a young age already. So that's the biggest difference.
And see, would you say this change has happened like pretty recently, or would you say it's been like this? It's been physical for a while now.
It's been way more fit, I would say, in the last 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, with players coming up like Paul Cole reaching world number 1 with his physicality, and you got guys like Joel Macon, physical beast out there as well. I mean, obviously the guys were fit back in the days, but nowadays they're just like...
It's another level, you think?
It's another level, I think, yeah.
This might be an ambiguous question to ask, but if we were to match up someone like the likes of Joel Macon or Paul Cole against, previous champs out there like Nick Matthew, do you think you'd have an answer for who would be better?
I mean, if you got Nick hasn't been gone for that long, I think he was a very tough competitor as well. But I'd say he was making the transition. Like he made the game where it is now. Like he was in charge of like making it go faster, the pace he played at. I mean, it's a hard question, but I think if you go 10 years back, 15 years back, there's no doubt that the boys these days would win.
And then do you think you had to adapt big time as well throughout?
Oh, big time. Yeah.
Because you're known for how you're able to attack the angles, but the physicality has? Yeah,
I mean, you have to cover it up as well. Now everyone can attack it, but these guys to get the extra balls back, you have to do a lot of adaptations. That's for sure.
Yeah. And where's your headspace right now? Would you say you're at a high right now in terms of ending that season on a strong note? And are you hungry to crack into that top 10?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been a goal to get into the top 10. Obviously, it's I think the top 10 is better than it's been before. So the standard of squash is like, it's very, very high. Even guys from the top 30, top 40, everyone on their day is very, very strong. Just the consistency of the top 10 guys is just one you have to get to adapt. I mean, on the odd day, you can always take them down, but you have to take those guys down on a regular basis to deserve to be top 10. My headspace is, well, it was summer holidays. I had good holidays, that's for sure. Went to Zanzibar with my girlfriend, did some some relaxing, get the headspace right. But I think I'm in a good mindset back now again to work my ass off to be ready for the new season.
Would you say your biggest goal right now would be cracking into that space, or are you more focused on maybe like winning a tournament?
No, I think for me, it's just I think the world ranking. It's more important to be higher ranked than winning a tournament. Yeah. I mean, if you win the tournament, you're going to be higher ranked anyways as well. So
it does go.
It's kind of right. So for me, the main focus, especially with the pace I put in the last March, April, May era when I had very good points. So I don't really have anything to defend until then. So I can definitely build on my position now. So that's the goal.
What's coming up for you? Do you know what your first tournament will be for the next season?
Well, I have some league finals. I played with my German team, Paderborn. We played the league finals. And then my first one back would be the European Individual Championships in Hamburg on the 18th of August, I think it starts. And then, I think then it's just bang on. From then you have like Qatar, Egypt, club championships, and then you have San Francisco, US Open, and then one of the biggest highlights for me, obviously the Grasshopper Cup back home on home soil.
Are they back in the calendar?
Yeah, in mid-October, yeah.
Oh, let's fucking go.
I'm sure that's 100 really men, 100 women. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I've seen a couple of videos. The crowd goes wild.
Oh, they love
that with the flags.
The cowbells, the flags. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it back now.
Wait, I want to talk about the European Championships real quick. Do you know what you're going to be seeded for that tournament? It must be pretty high.
I'm top seed because not everyone plays.
I was going to ask about if Shorbagy's going to be now part of that.
No, he's not. No, he's not. It could have, no, but he's, as I said, for some of the federations, it's more important than for others.
Yeah.
Like for us, World Games wasn't important, whereas for the Germans, it was the most important one, and for the French, obviously, as well. So, yeah. Gotcha. It's okay. We'll see. I think it's going to be played on a high 10, if I'm not mistaken. So,
and what are your thoughts on the high 10? Are you a big fan or not really?
Absolute rubbish. It's pretty straightforward. It's absolute, rubbish. I mean, the mix is just bad. You play high, and then you play low, and you play high. It's just not fun.
Stick to fucking one.
Stick to low. Yeah. Because it's just annoying, And then you play league matches, whatever. I love playing league matches, but then you have to play on high tens, and the same match would have been on the normal court would be 45 minutes, a bit more intense, but then on a high ten, it could be 1.5 hours. Obviously you're ready for it, but it's like, come on, guys.
As players, have you guys voiced? Because it seems like from a lot of players that I've interviewed so far, no one seems to be a fan of the high ten. I mean, at this point, you would think that they just stopped doing it, but.
Well, the problem is if you do like stuff like European, when you need a lot of courts, only the old clubs, they only have the high tens, right? And it costs them probably too much to put lower tens in, even though it's not rocket science to put the lower 10 in. But I think it still comes down to money, basically.
Yeah. Given that you've been on the tour for a while now, and I just want to hear, your thoughts of the game, and especially with this season or right now at this moment, who in the squash world impresses you the most right now?
Well, I think it has to be Asal. He's really impressive.
Yeah.
Just how physical he is at a young age. We shouldn't talk about all the antics about him, but like just the way he can play squash if he wants to is an absolute ridiculous joke.
Do you think that's just in terms of squash? And we can go into the antics a little later, but just in terms of squash, do you think he's the best player at his age you've ever seen?
Oh, it's a tough one. Rami is.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, I know.
Rami was a different level.
Yeah,
for me, it was a different level. It's just different. The understanding.
You put Rami above. Yeah.
Yeah, I put Rami pretty much above everyone else. It's a big statement, but I think for me, Rami is the best by a mile.
Gotcha. It's a darn shame that his body.
Yeah, he was a likable guy as well. He played the game, he
Right.
played squash. He wasn't there for all the BS that's happening, and sometimes some of the other matches he was just there to play the game
Yeah.
and didn't need anything else. So
yeah. Well, speaking of BS, I've been doing this thing recently with a couple of the guests where we just, talk shit about what's happened this season. And, people seem to be really engaging with it. And I want to ask you first, do you keep up with the chatter around, the controversy amongst the players, as we saw, just to give you a little hint of like the Hania, Gohar beef. I know the Shorbagy, Paul Cole match, the Asal antics. Or do you try to stay away from that?
No, I like some banter every now and then. I like to listen to it. I do read up on it as well sometimes, just to see some of the opinions of some of the people and how, it's just.
Well, speaking of opinions, people would love to hear your opinions on this. But,
I mean, it's nice to have. It's obviously it's somehow also good for the game. It gets people involved, gets people talking about it. Yeah, but I'm much rather be let the record and the game do the talking instead of all what's happening outside. But I guess that what's happening as well these days, you need it with all the Instagrams and all the Facebook pages, whatever. It's just how it is. The fan base has to be happy as well.
Are you on the Facebook forum as well, on the squash stories?
I'm a quiet observer.
You're quiet as well, yeah. You'll never pitch in your opinion.
No, sometimes it's better to stay out of it. Neutral Swiss, just
neutral.
Observe it and have a quiet laugh every now and then.
I mean, I'm sure you do have some opinions about it, though. About certain. Well, if you don't mind, I wanted to ask you what your thoughts about the Shorbagy moving nationalities. Did you see that coming, or was that a huge shock to you as well?
It's not a big shock. I mean, he's lived in England for almost all his life. Most of his coaches were English, so obviously it's going to make European teams way harder, and they play Shorbagy at number one, But I don't think it should be a big issue. I mean, even some other players have changed nationalities in the past, and
right.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the passport, so, and he hasn't played in world teams for a long time, and I think he's had some beef with the federation as well there. So I completely understand it.
Yeah, and speaking of him. Again, at any point, if you feel like you don't want to answer these questions, let me know. But I wanted to talk to you about the Shorbagy Cole match where Shorbagy absolutely went in the fifth game and threw an absolute tantrum out there. What did you think?
Well, when he bottled it in Egypt.
Yeah.
That was the one. Yeah. I completely lost the plot.
Were you able to watch that?
I watched it, and I was like, dude, you've been playing for 95 an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever, and then you just toss it like that in the end. And he knows he was stupid. He knows it was, but it was pointless. He must have just obviously the boys have been probably pretty low on oxygen after all that match, but even probably the second it happened, he regretted it after. I was talking to him.
Oh, you did?
I think after the match, the next tournament, I was just like, dude,
what the hell happened?
And he was like, yeah, I know. He was. Yeah.
I see. And earlier about the Asal antics, do you feel like it's gotten better now? It's been fine or not really?
The thing is with him, he doesn't need it. When he plays, he doesn't. That's the annoying part. He does not need it.
Yeah.
He's good enough to beat anyone. You can see in the end he didn't need it. I mean, he beat Paul Cole in the World Tour Finals. Yeah. 3-love or whatever it was, and he was fine. He was fine. So he won 3-love. I don't know why. What his intentions are. It's for me. It's a shame for the game. I tend to not watch it.
Have you had the opportunity to play him? Because I was looking at your match.
Him. No, I haven't
played him.
No.
Not even a practice.
No, I haven't never played. Not even practiced with.
Well, hopefully, maybe at the Grasshopper Cup, the draw. An Asal Mueller fucking matchup would be one for the fans. Do you think you would have a game plan for him that you think would work?
Well, I'd make my mind up when it's actually there that I have to play it. It would be wasted energy to think now about the game plan playing.
That's true. And one player that you've played a lot this season, Marwan Shorbagy. He can get feisty as well on court. Does that get you a little nervous before playing a match with him, or not
he
really?
can, but he's gone much better as well. He's had his phases where he was a bit more feisty, but now he was just playing.
I also think he like picks and chooses who he decides to be very feisty with, and I don't think he really brings that with when he plays with you.
The thing is, because I'm not the feisty guy, so they like kind of respect that, and they like, it's how you scream into the the antics. What's it called in English? How you scream in the forest the way it comes back. Something if you're a nice guy kind of thing, and you're just there to play, the other person tends to be that way as well. And for me, I might just do a bit running around the person if I have to, because I just really do not like
You don't like getting into it.
No, that's the only thing I don't like about our game.
Oh,
I mean, about the game of squash, yeah.
It's funny that you say, because I feel like as of in the past 2 years, the level of feistiness has risen dramatically amongst players comparative to the past. Or correct me if I'm wrong. Has
it's gone up. I think it's gone up. Obviously, it's more money at stake. So obviously, if there's more money at stake, more pride at stake, these kind of antics go up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just natural, because squash is a grey area sport. It's not black and white. The rules, you can have 10 pros seeing at the same, observing the same decision. You can have 10 different opinions about, So yeah, that's the only thing. It's not like in tennis, the ball is in or out. It's like, was it that close? Could have been a leg, could have been no leg.
Do you think because of that, that's one of the major reasons why squash isn't growing?
I mean, it's growing in the States. In some of the parts, it's massively growing, but that certainly doesn't help. Even some of the players, they don't understand what's happening. So I know they try to revolutionize the refereeing system. It's much better with the reviews and everything. And the double bounces. It's gone in the right direction.
Yeah.
So,
still has some miles and miles to go, I think.
It's a long way.
I like even the double bounce. Still, it's somewhere inconclusive, and it blows my mind that we still
double bounces.
Can't identify exactly. I guess we just don't have the technology or the money for the bird's eye.
For the Hawkeye, yeah, exactly.
But just enough with the uncomfortable controversy that I'm bringing your way. But going back to you, so you're currently based in Germany, right?
Yeah, I'm doing both. I'm in Germany and in Zurich.
Oh, okay. So I thought you were based in.
I'm doing both. Like in the off season, I'm mainly in Germany just to prepare and whatever. But during the season, we have way more Swiss league matches. So I'm there always on Thursday. So I tend to be more in Zurich.
Why Germany though? Is it because just of training partner wise?
I mean, it was Rosner's club. When he would have been Paderborn. I mean, obviously the facilities in Paderborn are second to none. I mean, the place is ridiculously good for squash. I mean, it's like a squash sports hub basically there. So it was mainly because I was quite good friends with Simon Rosner, obviously.
How did this friendship begin, by the way?
Well, it wasn't in the beginning. It wasn't a friendship because it was the first and only guy who ever beat me 27 love. But that's when I was. I didn't know about that way. I was 11 and he was 13. So
okay, that's fair with the maturity age gap.
Yeah, so he beat me 27 love, and then obviously same kind of language, German, Swiss German, and pretty much the same interests. So yeah, we got along quite well, and sharing in the tournaments as well. We didn't bother each other, so it was good.
And do you feel you have anyone close like that now who's active on the tour, or not really anymore?
It's hard to replace someone like him. When we used to be together all the time, and then if you take that away, then you have to find your own new ways. Obviously, there's many of the guys out there are quite nice. I get along well with most of them. But I think the older you get, the more you like time on yourself, time by yourself as well. So that's the only good thing about the COVID thing, that you ended up having single rooms in the hotels.
Yeah, that's true.
That was the main. That was the main thing.
Even though the protocols, I'm sure, was really brutal.
Yeah, it wasn't the best.
Is there one thing you'd like to see changed in PSA going to next season? I know there was some chatter about, letting coaches coach you guys at this point.
Yeah, I didn't understand why they got rid of that one. Obviously, you just get one accredited coach, not like 20 Egyptians coming coaching one person. Just one guy going there.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why it's not allowed. Why they took it off. They should, in my opinion, should get that one back.
Do you know if that's in the works right now, that they are letting that happen?
To be honest, I have no idea what PSA is doing right now. Sorry, I wasn't really into it. I'm sure they're on it. They're on the task to do some changes. I don't know exactly what. We're going to find out in the emails what's happening.
Gotcha. Wait, sorry, I want to go back to Rosner because of your friendship with him. What did you think of his retirement? Because it really threw me off, considering how I didn't think he was that old to retire. I didn't think he was playing badly at all. I'm sure he has his reasons, but
he has his reasons. One, I think his main sponsor stopped as well, and he was the whole COVID situation. He wasn't really. He didn't fancy playing that way, and he was. I think he also started to realize that he was about to lose to some of the guys out there, and he doesn't like losing at all. So I think that
very
might have always very, very competitive, even in practice, even nowadays in practice when I'm in Germany, he still wants to win everything. So I think that could have been, I don't know, we never talked about it really, but I think that could have been a reason as well. But kudos to him, he had an amazing career and he finished kind of on a high, so did well.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask one more thing about, so every now and then, we see an outlier of a player coming from unique places, really seeing success in the sport that's really dominant by a couple nations. No, not really even a couple nations, just one nation, just Egypt. But what allowed for you to succeed? Like, I know this is such a cliche question to ask, but it is unique considering, we have the likes of, someone like you or like someone like Diego who comes from a place that squash isn't really known for. But what do you think allowed your circumstance to be different?
We've always had good players in Switzerland, good juniors, put it that way. There's always good juniors, but then it comes to an age like 18, 19, and then it depends how you're going to make a living working on a normal job in Switzerland. You're still going to be paid reasonably well. Or if you want to try and go pro, or have to work way harder to get some sort of money, I think for me, there was always a lot of talent there somewhere, no matter what sport. Usually give me a ball, and I was pretty much good at it. Mm-hmm. But I think it has to be also the upbringing. I think I had a lot of support from my family, my parents. They were always there for me, supporting me. I think without them, I would have definitely not been where I am right now. So I think it's mainly the support from my surroundings, the club, the coaches.
Do you think the Swiss Federation for Squash could do a better job in supporting players like you? So, because it seems like there is enough talent. There is the talent. The talent's there, but
it's hard. Obviously, it's a money issue. It always comes down to money. I think they could do a better job, but it's always hard to just point fingers at someone. I'm sure they could have done a better job, especially filling that gap from juniors to elite. If you get funding in that time, that could have helped. I was lucky enough to be, after my school ended, I was lucky enough to be in the sports military in Switzerland. So that's where the funding we get from the state, which I'm still at the moment, which is very good. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to do it as well.
Do you plan to be involved post-career to help grow maybe Swiss squash, or are you trying to just sail the boat for the retirement?
I don't know really, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of coaching per se.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a big fan of coaching beginners. I can see myself working with not established, but like with juniors that want to be better and they already have a good level. I can see myself being a good asset to them, but coaching juniors, and because for me many things have been natural. I'm very bad at explaining things because I think just feel the ball, and they're like, yeah, what do you mean feel the ball? I was like, yeah, just hit it like this and this and that, because I was never taught how to do it, So for me, it's hard to explain to someone things that I've never thought about myself.
It doesn't come naturally to you. I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Why can you not hit it like this? So. But yeah, I can see myself still being involved in sports, squash, because it's good to be involved in sports. I think because it's just the lifestyle is just way more relaxed than wearing a suit every day in the morning to go to work.
How do you feel about Swiss squash right now in terms of, because you guys do have, there's
Dimitri is there?
Yeah, he's coming up as well.
He's playing well.
Seems like he's very committed to cracking in.
No, he's Swiss squash is I think he's in a good shape. We always have every 3-4 years we have some very good players. He's obviously he's top 40 in the world already, and then we've got a couple of guys around the 90 to 120, I think, and they're all young, so we have a very good chance to be doing some damage at the Europeans this year if we all play well. So I think it's in a good spot.
Got it. Nici, I'm gonna do something now called the quick fire segment. It's just gonna, fire away a couple questions at you and see what your thoughts are. I'm just gonna start with some squash related ones. Favorite ref on tour right now?
Jeez, favorite ref. I don't know. I'll go with Roy Gingelli.
Yeah. Is there a particular reason?
Just because of the accent. He's funny to listen to.
Not because he gives you some favorable calls.
Nah.
Best dressed player on tour right now?
Best dressed? Jeez, it was easy. It was Rosner. It was the easiest because he always had one pair of track pants and that was it. Best dressed? Women or men?
Either.
I would go with Hania.
Hania, yeah.
Yeah. So
none on the men's tour other than you.
I hardly ever look at the clothes with the men are wearing them.
I think this might be more applicable to the men's tour. Worst dressed player on tour?
So it used to be Greg Gaultier, but
you didn't fancy his fashion.
No, that used to be him. That's for sure. Oh, now it's Miguel. Some of the stuff Miguel wears is absolutely beyond, but he likes it, so it's good.
Who is one player you'd like to see in the commentator's booth?
I do actually like Lisa's in it. She's doing a very good job because she brings another accent. I think that's always a good one.
It's the accent, isn't it? It is. If you have any not Rosner, you don't think he'd be a good asset to the commentator's booth?
If you like German accents while commentating, then yes, but it's interesting if they used to bring in players way more to do commentating, then you see the way they think about the game. I think some people who are very analytic about the game would be very good. I think someone like Ali Farag would be a good addition. Good addition.
How about yourself?
Yeah. I'll be good for the banter, that's for sure.
You're just more like, you got to feel the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
No analytics here.
Oh, he played a cross court. Wow.
What are your thoughts on the best of three? I feel like you might be a big fan of it.
If you win the first game, it's a good thing, yes. If you lose the first, it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's good. It has its places. It has its place in the game.
And you think it's fine right now as it is with how the tournament structures are going with the best of three?
Yeah, for some events it works. Yeah. Would you like to see it more in the tournament calendar? I would like to see it more in leagues. Play best of three in leagues. Okay. That would be PSA, maybe a couple more, but that's it, not the big ones.
Yeah. And if you were to be competing in the softball doubles world championships, who would you pick as your partner?
I would play with Rosner.
Rosner. How about from the women's tour if it was mixed?
Deepika. She's by far Deepika Palikal.
Oh, yeah.
She's by. I watched some highlights of the World Championship doubles they had. She's the best player on the court from the 4 men and women together by a mile.
How does one become a good? How do you see that as someone?
I have no idea. I literally the first time I watched doubles, and it was like she did not lose a point.
Oh wow!
Obviously, it's completely different. Everyone says the 13-inch tin is a massive difference. I never played on it, so I cannot say how it is. I'd probably be rubbish at it, but yeah, because I get bored if the other guy gets the balls all the time, and I was like, all right,
screw this,
hit the tin.
And then, which tournament of the calendar year you think is best organized for the players?
Grasshopper.
I guess there was a correct answer to that question.
Because the Swiss organization, so the Swiss, if they do something, they do it properly, and it's on time and spot on. So for me, this is the best thing.
Yeah, they give you a better hotel room, maybe.
It's just across the street, but it's not about the hotel. It's just like everything is spot on. Everything is how Swiss are. Like punctual.
Wait, it's funny how you said the whole punctual and being on time. Are some tournaments not good with the time?
No, some countries time is relevant. It's irrelevant. Time is like an open construct. The concept of time is different.
They just don't have it.
The concept of 5 minutes can be very extendable.
Which tournament do you think needs work on doing a better job setting up?
I mean, it used to be the Egyptian tour, but they've gone way better.
They got a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about Qatar. Sorry, Qatar. They used to be for the players one of the best, if not the best.
I felt like they were treating you like actual sports
royals.
Stars.
Yeah. Qatar is amazing.
I feel like once you get there, it's like all the rest of the tournaments are like, what is it?
It's always like you're always looking forward to what cars they have as like transportation. Like sometimes they have BMWs, and then they have like Genesis, and then something new.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's always good. Meanwhile, sometimes some of the others, you're like, there's your €9 ticket to go to the hotel. Take a tram.
What are your thoughts on the whole nicknames for PSA players?
It's overcooked.
I think it's overcooked.
Like for me, they're forcefully looking for nicknames for people. Come on, it comes naturally, it doesn't come. And use a nickname once or twice, it's fine, but don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Having said that, I love my nickname. It's a very good one.
Yours is the only one they've really had success on.
Yeah, it was a very fitting one back in the days where it came from.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was a lot more organic back in the day, and with the nicknames. But nowadays, I think it's just like someone's coming up.
Yeah,
you gotta shove it. Now.
Yeah, you have to get one. It just comes naturally. It's just
yeah. Some
things should be forced.
Yeah, and then two juicy ones. Hopefully, you can name drop this. Who do you think is the most underrated player on tour right now?
Yusuf Ibrahim.
You think he's underrated?
He should be higher. He should be higher. Yeah. The way he can play, yeah, I think he should be higher.
You think he's going to crack into the top 10 next season?
If his body holds up, yeah.
Okay. How about most overrated player on tour right now?
I'm not gonna talk about that question.
That's fair enough.
There's obviously some players you prefer playing than others, so I'm not really.
I'm going to do a different question for that then. Who is one player on tour that you don't like playing? Maybe like a clash of playing style that you're not.
It's just Ali Farab is the worst for me to play. Just the way he plays. He knows before.
Is it the playing style?
Yeah, he knows before I know where I'm going to play. He knows before I know what shot I'm going to hit. He knows already what shot I'm going to hit, which is annoying.
Oh. Do you think he's a step faster in reading?
Yeah. And he's got limbs that his arms are 5 meters long, so he just gets there anyway, somehow.
Yeah. Do you another follow-up question is, do you think he's going to maintain the world #1 spot next season?
For me, he should be #1, yeah. For me, he's the
Ooh,
best
okay.
player. For me, he's the best player.
Really?
Still.
Okay.
Depending if how long Asal is playing.
Would you say you would actually put them two on top? Or would you say Paul Cole's not really?
No, he's obviously
He's in the.
he's up there for sure. He's up there for sure. But for me, prospects for the future is better. I mean, Asal, the way his trajectory is at the moment, the way he progresses from tournament to tournament, I don't think there's going to be many people stopping him the next couple of years.
Yeah, it might tour might get a little boring if he continues on with how dominant he might be.
Well, it never gets boring with him, that's for sure. There's a lot to talk about for sure. We've got the fancy celebrations as well. So,
see, he's dialed it down. I think he's people are getting to his head. He's not ripping his shirt anymore. So,
yeah, he's growing up. He's getting old. Getting sensible.
Again, I'm going to do a couple life-related ones. If you're shipwrecked on an island, all your basics are covered. What are the two things you bring with you?
Shipwrecked on an island. We did have. I hate that one. I did have that discussion with my girlfriend the other day. I was like, I would bring my girlfriend with me, and my toilet.
Your toilet.
Or does that count as the basics?
That's the way. Why don't we cover that as a basic?
No, I don't know. Some kind of ball, anything to play with.
Just anything.
Keep me busy,
Yeah,
keep me sane.
Yeah. And best and worst purchase you've ever made?
I've had some very stupid purchases. There's too many. I've bought some random stuff that usually holds for like 10 minutes, and then I forget about it somewhere. And then I can't name anything right now, but the best purchase I've had, I think the iPad was one of the best purchases.
Yeah, we got to talk about how you messaged me how you don't have a laptop on you.
Honestly, I bought a laptop for my school papers back in the days when I finished high school, and since then I've never used one. Just been using my iPad ever since.
That is
savage.
Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy, yeah. Nici, what are some of your biggest pet peeves?
What's a pet peeve?
Something that bothers you. Like, for example, I think you kind of mentioned about a pet peeve of mine could be people not being on time. That bothers me.
But the thing is, I've ever since I started driving myself, I'm always late myself. So when I was reliable on public transport, I was always on time because I planned to be on time. When I have a car, I'm usually a bit late.
You push it till the last.
I push it to the last and my pet peeve, I hate being in traffic. Absolutely hate getting in traffic, especially if you have left or right and one has traffic, one doesn't, and you end up taking the wrong one. I get very angry.
And you see the other lane just.
I get very angry. I start yelling as well in the car.
Are you a rage driver? What do you say?
I'm not a rage driver. I do drive fast when I'm on the Autobahn in Germany. Yeah. That's a good thing, driving from Zurich to Paderborn.
Oh, that is a
limitless
push the.
You can keep the pedal down, but it's gotten more expensive, so a bit more sensible now because it's no point.
Job.
I can get ragey.
What job or sport, if it weren't for squash, would you say?
What other sport if it weren't for squash?
Yeah.
I used to play tennis and football, soccer. Pretty good at beach volleyball as well. I do love golf.
Oh, beach volleyball. Oh, yeah. I was aware that you like golf. I've seen. I
do love my golf
socials. Well. Yeah. But and then favorite squash athlete that's active on tour right now that you love watching.
Diego.
Do you think he has a shot? And
if and when he decides to be, when he wants to and decides to do it, yes, he will.
When he stops drinking?
When he's a bit more serious than he used to be. Yeah. I think. You can get away with that stuff when you're younger, but no, the body gets older as well. There's only so many years you have in yourself. I mean, he's ridiculous. I mean, yes, he's a very good player.
Gotcha. And, okay. So to wrap this up, I'm going to do a couple of the Instagram questions I got. A couple of them are really funny, but if you can entertain me, have it up here. One person asked, how confident is he in beating Rosner right now?
I would say the most confident I've ever been, put it that way. Doesn't make me feel comfortable out there, but I would say I'm the most confident.
Yeah. And this is probably one of the most questions I've received from everyone was it's on the lines of this, but this person summed it. Considered switching racket sponsors. Why stay with Wilson?
Really, we've had that one for something. I mean, I'm very loyal to my brands. I've been with Wilson ever since I was 12 years old.
And
I do like the brand.
Well, it's crazy because not a lot of players are on the.
Not many. It's just Holly and me nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, me, my contract is still under renewance, so it's not really fixed. But hopefully, we get to sign a new deal this summer. So, because I've always liked the brand. And
you like the red colorway? You like the
obviously red color, Swiss being Swiss, red, and and especially being fellow Roger Federer, obviously.
Yeah, just have
that's a big thing.
Very similar.
Exactly.
If only you got the Uniqlo sponsorship as well.
I would much rather have the Nike one than the Uniqlo.
The Nike one,
the old one.
But yeah, it was funny. I got a bunch of questions on your Wilson racket usage, saying some that I think people were curious about that. I mean, this is a straightforward one, but does the size of the crowd influence how you feel on court?
Yeah,
I feel like that's.
I mean, if I play in front of, I have trouble speaking in front of people. If I have to speak in front of 5 people, I'd probably struggle, confidence-wise. But if I can play squash in front of 500,000 people, I wouldn't give it that. I would.
That's crazy. So if you say that you take the win and then you have to do the post-game interview, are you not?
Because it's still sports related, so it's okay. It's still within my expertise kind of thing. But if I don't see myself an expert in this particular area, I'd probably struggle a bit more. But yeah, definitely, I wouldn't have a problem playing in front of a lot of people.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of player who ups their performance, depending on the crowd size, you beat it. Probably number 1 on that list. But yeah, I think that's it for the Instagram questions. Thanks, Nici, for joining in. That was a fantastic time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, enjoyed it.